So I want to welcome you all here today. I'm glad it's not too hot. It's a very solemn day, not a happy day. It's a day where we thank those who died in the defense of this country. I want to introduce Phil Ronan, our Veteran Service Officer. Many of you know him, but to those that don't, Phil is the man to see if you have a question about anything that is veteran related. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Phil right now.
Thank you, Richard. I'd like to thank everyone for coming today. Obviously, Richard touched on the fact that this is not a day to celebrate at all. This is a day to commemorate everybody that gave their lives in defense of this country so we can enjoy the freedoms we have on a daily basis. I'd like to welcome everyone who came out today, all the distinguished guests, the town council, all my fellow veterans, and the citizens of the town of Winthrop. Thank you very much for coming out today to honor and pay homage to all of the fallen. I'd like to right now, in honor of Memorial Day, I would like to ask everybody to please remove your headgear for a moment of silence in remembrance of the fallen. Thank you very much. And I'd like to remind everybody finally that at 11:30 we are going to have an additional ceremony where we will be dedicating a memorial, rededicating another memorial, and we have a special guest that's going to honor all of us with his presence. So enjoy the remainder of the ceremony. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. So now I'm going to introduce Chrissy Daly. She's the exalted ruler of the Winthrop Elks. Good morning, Christine.
Good morning, everyone. I just want to say very briefly that I'm honored to be here as a representative with the officers of the Winthrop Lodge of Elks and the Winthrop Emblem Club on this day that we remember all of those that gave their lives for this great country of ours. And I want to thank all of you retired and active service men and women out there today for all your dedication years of service. And without further ado, I will introduce Mr. Rich Honan again to lead in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Chrissy. Now, if you'll all follow along with me as we recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next up, we're going to have Anna Rossio. I'm going to call her up to the podium. Oh, no. First, we're going to do the national... Oh, yeah. No, we're doing Anna. Oh, she's going to kill me. Anna is my granddaughter.
The Commonwealth of Massachusetts, a proclamation. Whereas while the nation was still recovering from the horrors of the Civil War, people in cities and towns across the country gathered to honor those Union and Confederate soldiers who had given their lives celebrating the first Decoration Day. And whereas after World War I, the nation came together again to honor those who had fallen in the service of their country. Renamed Memorial Day, the last Monday in May is when people remember and honor the memory of all the men and women who fought and died in all American wars and conflicts. And whereas throughout our country's history, thousands of Massachusetts citizens have fought in wars and conflicts to defend our safety and way of life. And whereas their legacy of patriotism and dedication to the country is an inspiration to all Americans. And whereas it is appropriate that all Massachusetts citizens remember the bravery of those who gave their lives so that their sacrifices serve as a reminder of the cost of our freedom. Now, therefore, I, Maura T. Healy, Governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, do hereby proclaim May 29th, 2023 to be Memorial Day. By Her Excellency, Maura T. Healy, God save the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
And now Tina Marie Talvey will lead us in the national anthem.
Detail attention.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight were the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Order, arms. Get at ease.
Next up, I'm going to request our chaplain, David Kennedy, U.S. Coast Guard, front and center.
Thank you. A Memorial Day prayer. Almighty God, our Heavenly Father, in your hands are the living and the dead. We give you thanks for all those, our comrades, who have laid down their lives in the service of our country. May they rest in peace, and may light perpetual shine upon them. May the good work of seeking justice for the oppressed and peace for all mankind be rewarded with success, that their sacrifice shall not have been in vain. And may we never fail to remember the awesome cost of freedom that we enjoy. All this we ask in your name. Amen.
Thank you very much, David. Chrissy?
I'd like to introduce the commander of the American Legion, number 146, Steve White.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. We veterans, many of you are among the audience. Many of you are members of our police department. Okay. Many of you are members of our fire department. But most of all, my fellow members and fellow veterans, I want to thank you for your service, Post 146. And thank you for being here today to help us remember what it really means, Memorial Day. Ronald Reagan said to us some years ago, we can never repay the debt that these individuals, our servicemen and women, have given us to support our way of life. All we can do is say thank you and remember. Please do that. Please remember. Remember their sacrifices and the sacrifice of the youth that are coming up in the future to protect our way of life. God bless you all. God bless these United States of America. Thank you.
Let's see, who's talking now?
He's always trying to hog the mic. I was warned. I would like to bring to you greetings from the Commonwealth from our state representative, Jeffrey Turco.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to say a few words today. On behalf of myself and my colleague, Senator Edwards, we both represent more than one community, and so she's at a different event today because they were scheduled at the same time, but I do bring greetings on behalf of Senator Edwards as well. You know, before I talk about Memorial Day and why we're here, I do want to thank, we just heard the fire truck go by, and it's a reminder to us of the brave sacrifices and unselfish service of our police and our fire every day that allow us to go about our activities here on a Memorial Day or at our barbecues in our backyards or spending time with our families, that these men and women go out every day and put their lives on the line to protect us. So please give a round of applause to our police and fire for what they do. You know, we celebrate Memorial Day for the fallen. Over 1.1 million American men and women sacrificed their lives in defense of an ideal that causes millions of people across the world to try to come here to live a better life and live the American dream. Millions of people, 1.1 million people that whose graves adorn the world in cemeteries. This past August, I had the pleasure of taking my daughter on a little one-on-one trip to Normandy. And as we were there, we listened to the French people. Couldn't help force you, and forgive me if I get emotional, but you couldn't help force you to think of these young men and women, 18, 19, 20-year-old kids that went and fought all over the world for an ideal, for a dream of freedom and liberty. In an effort, we're not always the perfect union, but we always strive to be a more perfect union. And how do we do that? We do that through the sacrifice of the brave men and women that don the uniform, put aside their work. To the young kids here today, you look around at some of the people wearing uniforms, you go and you see the monuments at our town common, and you think of the people that went and they gave up their safe, comfortable life here in Winthrop to go and serve our country and put their lives at risk. And and fortunately a lot of them came home, but unfortunately a lot of them didn't. But their memory lives on by services like this. But I challenge you as parents and grandparents to take your kids and bring them to the monuments and look at the names, and then go to the library and or go on Google and look up the names of some of the people listed there, and talk about the sacrifices so that your kids and your grandkids understand what makes America great. The willingness of people to give their lives for their country, for their friends, for their neighbors is so critically important. And I said this I think last year, but we have a unique national anthem. Most people don't realize it because we just say the national anthem, it's rote to us. But the last sentence of the national anthem of the United States of America is a question. Will we be the land of the free and the home of the brave? Will we continue to do that? And it's because the people that don the uniform every day, that don't put aside their own self-interest and are willing to risk their lives to make America the great country that it is and the beacon of hope and liberty for the world. It's because of them, it's because of you as young kids that will someday don the uniform and serve your country, that we are. The answer to the question is yes, we will be the land of the free and the home of the brave for many centuries to come. God bless you all. Thank you for the opportunity to offer a few words.
Next up, I'd like to call for Jim Lettieri. He's the Town of Winthrop Council President.
I have to learn to request to be before Jeffrey Turco when I speak. He's always difficult to follow. But good morning on this incredibly beautiful day. And on behalf of Winthrop Town Council, I bring you greetings and thank you once again for attending this heartfelt event honoring this solemn day. I would like to recognize my fellow councilors who are here with us: Vice President Ruggiero, Councilors DeMarco, Belcher, Munson, Honan, Flockhart. Thank them for being here. In addition, I would like to thank you. In addition, I would like to thank Richard Honan, Phil Ronan, Stephen White, along with the entire Legion Post 146, who should be commended for the work they do to put this program together, as well as the work they do day in and day out to support our veterans. And I would also like to thank Representative Turco and Senator Edwards for their fair support of our town and our veterans. It was last year's Memorial Day program that I was fortunate enough to be able to introduce Anthony Marino as our new town manager. And now 1 year later, Tony is the principal speaker at this year's event. I thank him for his service to our town, but most importantly, for his service to our country. Our nation and our town owe a debt to its fallen heroes that we can never fully repay. But we can honor their sacrifice, and that is what we would do on this day. Memorial Day is also a day to think about what it means to be a member of this small town. We are a community that is bound together by our shared values and our shared commitment to each other. We are a community that is strong because we stand together. Many men and women who have served in the military have also been a part of this community. They have fought for our freedom, and they have defended our way of life, and we are forever grateful for their service. Memorial Day is a time to honor, reflect, and remember those who have made the ultimate sacrifice for their country. I would strongly encourage us all to not only do that on this day, but every day. As President Reagan said many years ago, the American soldier fights not for glory or for wealth, nor does he fight because of hatred of his enemy. He fights for his country, he fights for his home, and he fights for the way of life that he loves. Thank you all, and may God continue to bless the town of Winthrop and the United States of America.
And now I'd like to introduce Linda Kala to read Logan's order.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm proud to read this proclamation. And to add to that, this is my 18th year reading this proclamation. Thank you all for being here. I see so many familiar faces. General John A. Logan's Memorial Day Order, Headquarters of the Grand Army of the Republic. General Orders Number 11, Washington, D.C., May 5th, 1868. The 30th day of May, in this case the 29th, 1868 is designated for the purpose of strewing with flowers or otherwise decorating the graves of comrades who died in defense of their country during the late rebellion, and whose bodies now lie in almost every city, village, and hamlet churchyard in the land. In this observation, no form of ceremony is prescribed, but posts and comrades will, in their own way, arrange such fitting services and testimonials of respect as circumstances may permit. We are organized comrades, as our regulations tell us, for the purpose, among other things, of preserving and strengthening those kind and fraternal feelings which have bound together the soldiers, sailors, and Marines who united to suppress the late rebellion. What can aid more to assure this result than cherishing tenderly the memory of our heroic dead, who made their breasts a barricade between our country and its foes? Their soldier lives were the reveille of freedom to erase in chains, and their deaths the tattoo of rebellious tyranny in arms. We should guard their graves with sacred vigilance. All that the consecrated wealth and taste of the nation can add to their adornment and security is but a fitting tribute to the memory of her slain defenders. Let no wanton foot tread rudely on such hallowed grounds. Let pleasant paths invite the coming and going of reverent visitors and fond mourners. Let no vandalism of avarice or neglect, no ravages of time testify to the present or to the coming generations that we have forgotten as a people the cost of a free and undivided republic. If other eyes grow dull, and other hands slack, and other hearts cold in the solemn trust, ours shall keep it well, as long as the light and the warmth of life remain to us. Let us then, at the time appointed, gather around their sacred remains, and garland the passionless mounds above them with the choicest flowers of springtime. Let us raise above them the dear old flag they saved from dishonor. Let us in this solemn presence renew our pledges to aid and assist those whom they have left among us a sacred charge upon a nation's gratitude, the soldiers and sailors, widow and orphan. It is the purpose of the Commander-in-Chief to inaugurate this observance with the hope that it will be kept up from year to year, while a survivor of the war remains, to honor the memory of his departed comrades. He earnestly desires the public press to lend its friendly aid in bringing to the notice of comrades in all parts of the country in time for simultaneous compliance therewith. Department comrades will use efforts to make this order effective. By John A. Logan, Commander-in-Chief, N.P. Chipman, Adjutant General. And I'd just like to say that let's never forget we live in the land of the free because of the brave. Thank you.
Next up, I'd like to call Anthony Marino, United States Navy veteran, and also our fairly new town manager. Good
morning. I'd like to thank you all for taking time out of your day to stand with us in recognition and honor of all of those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice in service to this great nation. I would also like to take a moment and recognize all of those among us who have served or are currently serving, as well as any here who have lost a loved one in service. We are humbled by your sacrifices, as we know they are great, and we commend the demonstrations of courage and strength that you have no doubt shown throughout the most difficult times. As is evident by your presence here and by gatherings like this all across America, we pause to honor and remember those who served our nation but did not come home. It is Memorial Day in Winthrop. What we celebrate today as Memorial Day began just 3 short years after the end of the Civil War. It was originally established here as Decoration Day to take place on May 30th, 1868. To honor fallen soldiers by decorating their final resting places with newly plumed May flowers and that dear old flag they saved, and that tradition continues. Since that time, here on the hallowed grounds of Winthrop and in churchyards, national cemeteries, and town squares across the land, Americans gathered to honor the lives and deeds of America's greatest heroes and to assure their families will never forget and will never fail to honor the service, sacrifice of their loved ones. More than 1.1 million men and women have died in wartime throughout the span of our nation's history. To put that in perspective, that's more than the population of Boston or Washington, D.C. In fact, more people were killed in World War II alone than currently live in the city of New Orleans. This, of course, does not even begin to take... You good? No. All right. This does not even begin to take into account those who were wounded or went missing. That number is closer to 2.8 million, just slightly more than the city of Chicago. These numbers should truly humble us, as they represent people, individuals who were brothers, husbands, mothers, sisters, friends. They were people woven into the fabric of communities across the nation. They were loved, they were mourned, and they are missed. Military families and friends know all too well the feelings that when you send your loved ones off to war, you watch them disappear out of your line of sight, knowing it may very well be the last time you will see them. But this has been a stark reality for many families in this country. So too have been the telegrams, the middle of the night phone calls, and the chaplain standing at the front door of the next of kin to tell them their loved one has been killed. It is all too easy for those who have never suffered such losses to see past the holes that were left in the families and the communities. That's simply human nature. As Franklin D. Roosevelt once said, those who have long enjoyed such privileges as we enjoy forget in time that men and women have died to win them. But Memorial Day is a chance to reconnect to the origins of our nation's countless freedoms. It is an important day on which we ground ourselves to the reality that every Gold Star family knows. Our way of life has been shaped and made possible by those who have served and by those who are lost. The Bible says, if you owe debts, pay debts. If honor, then honor. If respect, then respect. And the debt our nation owes to those who rest among these cemeteries here and across the wider world is a debt we can never fully repay. For this is the day that makes possible all other American days. Without it, without the sacrifice we honor at patriots' graves from the four corners of our land and overseas, there would be no other American days. We value our veterans here in Winthrop and thank them for their service for us and this great nation. I would encourage you to engage our veterans in a conversation and hear the stories about their service. I think you'll be amazed at the stories of true valor you will find. This is the reality of military service, and this is what we take to heart on Memorial Day. We are able to be here today largely thanks to those who are not. There are many ways you can keep our fallen, as well as our injured and ill veterans in your mind and hearts throughout the year. If you are so inclined, organizations like our American Legion, our Veteran Service Office, and our Public Health Office offers countless ways to give back to those who have endured physical, physiological, and emotional wounds of war. It could be driving a veteran to a medical appointment, befriending a veteran who lives alone or in a nursing facility, or reaching out to a veteran who just left the military service. Please reach out and find ways you can help engage and be part of the effort to care for those who served. Working together with friends, neighbors, veterans groups, and our entire community, we can ensure that the sacrifices made by our nation's finest and bravest never go unappreciated and their memories never forgotten. This Memorial Day, let every American renew our commitment to do our duty, to never fail to remember what they've done for us, and never fail to honor and cherish the families they left behind, and never fail to strive each and every day to be worthy of the freedom that they won for us all. May God bless our heroic fallen. May those who mourn our heroes be comforted until God wipes every tear from their eyes. May God bless the men and women of our armed forces. May God bless Winthrop, and may God bless America. Thank you.
We're going to have... No.
Again, I'd like to invite up Tina Marie to sing for us again, America the Beautiful.
Please sing with me. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for pearl majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood, from a sea to shining sea.
At this time, I'd like to call upon the officers of the Winthrop Lodge of Elks, number 1078, and the Emblem Club, number 15, to place the wreaths on the grave of fallen soldiers. A small token of our appreciation for everything they have given to this country. Thank you. Now I'd like to call upon Phil Ronan, our Veteran Services Officer.
Thank you, Richard, for the large print on this reading. I'm going to read off the wars that we have, as a country, been engaged in through the years. First one, American Revolution, 1775 to 1783. The second, War of 1812, 1812 to 1815. Indian Wars, approximately 1817 to 1898. Mexican War, 1846 to 1848. Civil War, 1861 to 1865. Spanish-American War, 1898 to 1902. World War I, 1917-1918. World War II, 1941 to 1945. The Korean War, 1950 to 1953. The Vietnam War, 1964 to 1975. Desert Shield, Desert Storm, 1990 to 1991, and finally, the global war on terrorism since October of 2001. Thank you.
Next up, we have a special presentation. As many of you know, over the past 20 years, I have been sending care packages to military men and women serving in places like Africa, Korea, Iraq, Afghanistan. In that 20 years, we've sent over 44,000 pounds of care packages. And for a good 15 years or more, the women of the Winthrop Emblem Club 15, every month, without fail, 12 months a year, 15 years or more, have been there in support, either dropping me off a bag of treats to be put in the care packages, along with a $25 check. And I just wanted to make a special presentation to them. This is a U.S. flag, which has been flown over the U.S. Capitol in your honor. So I want to thank you very much for your years of support and the future years.
It's been our privilege to support your project.
All right. Well, thank you very, very much. Next, I'm going to call the American Legion Honor Guard.
Detail, attention, present arms. Fire. 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 Present arms. Honor guard. Order. Arms. Stand at ease.
And now again, I'd like to introduce Tina Marie Talvey to sing God Bless America. God bless America, lands that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
I'd just like to reiterate at 11:30 today on Town Hall Green, once again, we will be dedicating a memorial, rededicating another memorial, and we're going to have a special guest. In addition, when all the ceremonies are over with, the Boston Firefighters Band will be playing a concert courtesy of the American Legion. We hope to see you all there at that time. This will be a special event. Thank you.
And that is the conclusion. That is the conclusion of the 10 a.m. Town of Winthrop Memorial Day service. I want to thank you all for coming. It's a beautiful day. Hopefully we'll see some of you in front of the town hall at 11:30. But again, I want to thank you all for being here today.